Today's podcast is brought to you by TRC. Total Roofing and Construction is an exterior contractor specialist that specializes in residential and commercial roofing. They started as a purely commercial roofing contractor and now do a variety of services such as siding, gutters, windows, fascias, soffits, solar, and a ton of insurance restoration. They have been doing construction since 1985. Our service area, or their service area, is mostly Will County, Illinois, and Lake County, Indiana. Welcome back to MVGA Podcast. Here at Make Veterans Great Again, our mission is to reach out to fellow brothers and sisters in arms to conquer our mental health together. Just a reminder, you are not alone. Today, I'd like to introduce AG2 Carlton. Welcome to the show. Oh, she's a United States Navy veteran. Sorry about that.
Hi, Josh. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me to come on.
Of course. Thank you for being here. So I have to ask, and I'm sure you've heard this 100 times, but do you know how to do the Carlton?
That is funny because when you asked my last name, I almost said, yeah, like Fresh Prince, because Everyone asks me that.
That's what I figured. And I'm not even going to lie to you. I had that stored up real quick so I could bring it up right away. But
yes, I can do the dance, but I won't.
Okay. I wasn't going to ask you to. So let's just jump right into it. What was your life like before you joined the Navy?
So I was from a really small town in northern Wisconsin called Niagara, and it's...
Are you a Packers fan?
I am not. My dad was a weirdo, and he was a Giants fan amongst a nation of Packers fans.
Hey, that's okay, because if you said Packers, I was going to have to end the show right then and there.
Really? Wait,
No,
who's your
really.
team?
I'm a Bears fan. I'm from Illinois originally.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. You know what people from Wisconsin, especially where I'm from, like the northern part, call you guys?
Let's hear it.
Fibs.
Yeah.
Which is short for fucking Illinois bastard. You said I could swear on here, so
hey, say what you want to say. All right. I'm not offended.
Yeah, because so where I'm from, there's like a lot of lakes, and a lot of people from Illinois, Chicago area will have cottages up there, and they come up and kind of treat the area like it's their vacation spot. You know, they're kind of like rude, think they own the lake when they come up. So yeah, we call them fibs.
I mean, it makes sense. I understand. I guess that's why I went to the Marine Corps. You know, I was already a bastard, huh? My bastard.
Yeah, I can see that. No, I'm just kidding. That was...
It's all right. Don't worry. So what was being a cheesehead, even though you weren't a Packers fan, like growing up in Wisconsin?
It was a lot of fun. I mean, we're outdoors a lot. There's not much to do. You know, like there's a lot more to do outside than inside, I guess.
Right.
Being from a really small town. There's only like 2,000 people in my entire town, and I graduated with 36 kids.
And you beat
so you know everyone in the town. Yeah. But yeah, and then it was nice because for sports, I could make all the varsity teams because they were kind of recruiting people to join. So I was big into sports, and yeah, it was a great place to grow up.
Okay. What sports did you play?
I played basketball, and then I ran track. And then I did like theater, I did majorettes. I did pretty much everything to keep me as busy as I could and out of trouble.
Yeah, that's good. So I think I grew up in a small town. I grew up with like 80, or I graduated with 80 something kids, maybe 90. And
okay.
A lot of people are like, damn, that's it. And then you're over here like 36.
Right. It's like, so this year is my 10-year class reunion, or this summer will be. Okay. And I'm like reaching out to people in my class, and it looks like we're going to have maybe 10 people that are going to turn out for this reunion.
That's statistically wise, that's very successful.
Yeah. About
like that doesn't
third.
Happen. Yeah. So
it'll be
what was that?
I said it'll be interesting if we get that turnout.
Right. Do you still live in Wisconsin now?
No, so now I'm on the East Coast. I'm in Maryland, about an hour and a half south of DC.
You just didn't want to get away from the snow, did you?
So there's not a lot of snow here.
Really?
At all. Maybe we get like one storm a year, and you get like 2 inches for a few days, and that's it.
Oh, that's not bad. Yeah,
Oh.
I got stationed in California, and that weather spoiled me, and I didn't want to move back to Illinois and shovel snow again. So I moved out to Arizona, and then I met the heat.
Yeah, and there's like no rain.
Rarely. Got to wait for monsoon season, and that's if we're lucky if it'll rain.
Yeah, that's definitely different from probably your childhood where you grew up. Do you miss the
Absolutely.
snow?
I do miss the snow, but I don't miss living in it. Like,
Mhm.
ultimately, my dream would be to live somewhere in the snow from November to December so I can experience the holidays again, like it was. Because holidays without snow is very weird to me still. It's
Yeah.
because what I grew up with, like, oh, it's almost Christmas time, there's snow on the ground, or like you would pray for snow to happen before Christmas.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah.
different. But I don't miss having to shovel snow or freezing all the time. But I do want my kids to experience like the snow and like that part of childhood because like
Mhm.
waking up looking at watching the TV to see if it says your school's closed and it's a snow day, like that's an excitement. Like,
Oh my gosh, yes. And even like our school was notorious for not closing, and it would be freezing and all the other schools in the area would be closed, and then we would just not see my town, and I'd always get so mad.
yeah, I remember watching that too, and like other schools are off and you're like, why do I have to go to school? Or it's supposed to be a record blizzard and you wake up and it snowed maybe an inch or two and you're like, what?
Biggest letdown
Yeah,
ever.
especially because sometimes it felt like where we were living was like right around the eye of the snowstorm, right? Like where
Mhm.
we never got dumped on, but we were always promised we were going to. I mean, we would get decent amount of snows every year. Some years worse than others, obviously, but like it was never like what they promised. And I'm sure now I'd be like, thank God the weatherman was wrong. But before I hated it.
Right.
So what led you to join the Navy?
I I wanted to get out of Wisconsin. I did always want to serve my country. I thought it'd be a great opportunity to just get more life experience before I really picked a career field. I was kind of a party a partier. I didn't take academics too seriously. So I was just immature, I guess, when I was 18. So it was really the best choice for
Why
me
is
to
that past tense? You were immature?
I think I've grown up a little bit.
I'm just kidding. I'm sure you have.
Yeah. I mean, I still like to party, but yeah. It was the
Responsible
best.
adult partying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You
I mean, it's
prepared. I'm
kind of in
proud of
the
you.
Wisconsin blood
Yeah.
to do that.
So what was it like leaving a town of 36? I'm sure your basic training or it's boot camp in the Navy, right?
Yes, yeah, basic, same thing.
Right. Um, what was that like? Because you probably had more people there than you did in your graduating class.
It was exciting. I love people. I love meeting new people, being around people, especially from all over the country, different cultures, different backgrounds. I had so much fun just kind of doing what you do, like almost interviewing people, finding out everything I could about them. So it was really cool for me.
That's cool. It was like a melting pot for sure.
Yes, yeah, and you just build that camaraderie with going through kind of like the sucky parts together.
Yeah, going through all the bullshit together. And they
Yes.
can relate because they're going through it.
Yeah. I kind of looked at it also as like a summer camp almost.
Well,
Um,
it was the Navy, so it makes sense. Did
yeah,
you get
it
your
was
cell phone?
no.
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 You were before that time?
Yeah, do they do that now?
I'm pretty sure they get their cell phone. Maybe I don't think they get to keep it the whole time, but they have access to it, I believe.
Wow. Yeah, no, I didn't even need it. I was fine. It was only like what is it? Like I don't even know how long it is. It's like 10 weeks maybe.
Okay.
So it was very easy for me. It was just more mentally challenging, I guess. Just trying to get through it. They cut your hair, you couldn't wear makeup, I couldn't wear my clothes, and that was a big deal for me being 18. I wanted to look good, so it just really was a ego check for me. And yeah, that's about it. But the physical part, it was really easy.
Okay. So what was it like your time in the Navy?
So I went to Mississippi. I did my A school there. I studied weather.
Okay.
And then I got orders to Norfolk. I got to go sea duty. And the sea duty I was in was cool because I wasn't just assigned to a ship. I was assigned to kind of like a hub of sorts. So wherever they needed weather people, they would send out teams. So I could go on a few different ships or platforms. So I got to go on 5 different ships. And that way I got to see a lot. And then I ended up deploying with the Truman, which is a carrier, over to the Arabian Gulf and the Eastern Mediterranean Sea. And I got to go to a few different countries. That was a lot of fun. But I mean, it was hard too with the deployment, but it was a really cool experience. I'm glad I got to go on that tour.
That's good. And I like you talking about like the positives of the military, because I feel like I almost bring out the negative all the time. And I don't mean that the military is negative at all. Like, and I don't mean that there's zero fun times or anything like that. But the fun times live on forever, but the traumas is what we're trying to work through. But it's awesome hearing it and I love it. So where's your favorite country that you went to?
I really like Greece.
Okay.
Maybe my husband there. Um, but I really like Dubai too. That was a really cool place to visit and just like experience their culture. I swear I went on every single tour MWR offered so I could see everything and learn everything.
I would
And
love to go to Dubai.
it was super cool. I felt like I was the rich and famous, staying in a fancy hotel, going on rooftop bars,
Yeah, it must be nice.
Ferrari World.
Yeah, getting paid, that trip being paid for.
Yeah, I definitely would save up my money. We would just go to the ATM and just press the highest amount you could take out because
Yeah,
you don't spend money for the whole, like, say you're like 40 days in between. So
right.
you're ready to spend some money.
Of course. And then in Dubai, like all you can do is spend money there.
Yes, and it's a dry country, so you have to really map out where you can drink. A lot of it's only in hotels. And we went there 4 times. So by the
4 times, and by the 4th time you were a professional. Is that what you're saying?
I felt like I was a local. No, I'm just kidding. No, I definitely knew where to go and what I wanted to do and where to shop.
Okay. That had to be nice. So what wasn't rainbows and unicorns about your time in service? Because I'm sure there had to be hard times, right?
Definitely. And I think that's so important to talk about how you can be equally grateful for your service while also acknowledging that when you're in the service, there's such a bigger picture of like problematic, like, and it's also like a really toxic culture. I talk about that a lot on my page just because, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of great things. Like I say, it was cool, but there were a lot of hard times. I was sexually assaulted. I think I witnessed a lot of toxic behavior by leadership, brushing things under the rug, like fraternization, like maybe E8s taking advantage of younger sailors, stuff like that. So there are some tough things. And I think that's just mostly like military culture is to blame, and toxic leadership. So but it's all things that we can fix, right?
Right. And that's the goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry you had to go through all the negatives and the toxicness and the sexual assault. I didn't experience like the E8s and then the juniors hanging out a lot because I was
Mhm.
99% males around the
Oh,
whole
wow.
time. So that's like a different side of the military. Uh,
Mhm.
do you feel like it was harder on you to be a woman in the military?
I felt like there were more eyes on me. Like if I were to screw up, if I were to, um, like they say, if it looks like you're doing something, you're doing it. So that was a lot of like, I had to watch how I acted towards people. Like I couldn't be too flirty. I couldn't be too much of a bitch because you would get that reputation, especially on a ship
Yeah.
when there's,
Perception is reality.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Um, Yeah, it was a little harder and I felt like I mean, I wasn't like I wasn't like Joe Navy. They say like I wasn't like a top sailor. I was pretty average. Like I wasn't really striving. I felt like I wasn't like in a leadership role. So, but if I were to earn something, there was always like, oh, did she get it because she's a girl or did she actually earn it? There's always that
Yeah.
kind of question of when you are successful.
Yeah. That's got to be hard because I'm sure they're always trying to judge and see if your knees are worn out on your camis. But like, that's not the case all the time. Well, it's not the case most of the time, right? And it sucks that you have to have all that extra judgment.
Yeah, yeah, and there definitely was like higher. And then this is another thing that kind of made me want to stay in the Navy because while I was in, I never had I had one like higher ranking female that I actually looked up to, that I respected, that actually, I felt was a good leader. So I wanted to stay in and be that leader for future women who were serving. But I couldn't see myself being happy any longer. Looking good on paper, doing whatever you can to look good on paper, you are going to get promoted, you're going to succeed. So it kind of discourages people who work hard just to work hard, not to look good, from staying in.
Right. It's like people that know how to do the job versus people that know how to play the system.
Yes, yeah, yeah. It's almost like politicians, like how can I get the most credit, look the best, so I can get promoted
Right.
instead of doing the actual work and knowing your job.
Absolutely. But real quick, you said that you only had one female leader that you looked up to the whole time you were in. Did you feel like there was a even more competition between the females than with the males, or were you females able to like join together and like fight off all the negative stigma together, so to say?
That definitely depends on kind of the culture of each command or each, duty station that you're at. Because I felt like the lower enlisted, so I'm a girl's girl. Like I'm always gonna try to be friends with every girl that I work with. Um, but not everyone's like that. Not everyone wanted that friendship. But definitely in like the lower ranks, I feel like we look out for one another. We would take care of each other. But yeah, when it came to like leadership or people above me, it was kind of like a 50-50 chance if they were going to look out for me or if they were just gonna like nitpick me.
Yeah, because I was just wondering if they were like, because it's got to be a little bit more cutthroat, so to say, because there's less female in the military than there are males. So I didn't know if like the females were like at each other's backs the whole time because they wanted to be the best or whatnot, or if you guys were able to unify. Because there's that division everywhere, and I guess like you said, it does dictate on the culture of where you're at and the leaders that are around.
And you also can't really unify because that's going to look bad as well. You're only looking out for female sailors, or you're only, you know, helping people like other women. So that that also is kind of discouraged from the top down.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword everywhere you look, huh?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Okay. And you don't have to discuss this at all if you don't want to, but would you like to talk about your sexual assault? That was in the Navy, correct?
Yeah, that was in the Navy, and I'd like to like just say that a lot of people think that it's violent or by a stranger or something, but it was by someone I trusted. So I'll just say that it was like someone I trusted, someone that I drank too much around. I was at like a get together, and that's what I say. Like that's kind of what happens a lot. I'm not saying that not all of it is violent, but it's not what you would think about. It's not what you see in the movies all the time.
So what you're saying is you're like letting people know that like you can be sexually assaulted. Don't be afraid to speak up or admit it just because it wasn't like violent. You weren't beaten or dragged or anything vicious like that. Like you could have just been taken advantage of, and that's completely wrong in a sexual assault, and it makes it
Mm-hmm.
no less of a crime than a violent one. Is that sign up what you're saying?
That is a great way to say it, because
Okay.
like I totally blame myself. I told myself I shouldn't have been in that situation. I was also dating someone, like I had a boyfriend, so I didn't want to, you know, bring it up in front of everyone. But I definitely should have. That's one of my biggest regrets, is not reporting it, because
Okay.
I found out about 3 years after that he had done it to someone else. And I feel like if I would have reported it, I could have prevented that. And I only knew that because she was my friend. Who knows how many people he's done it to that I don't even know.
That's terrible, and it sounds like it's a unfortunately a reoccurring thing that if somebody gets away with it one time, or even if they don't get away with it, they tend to do it again and over again, and that's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so underreported. I know I'm not alone in that. And even I think it's 1 in 4 women is the VA stat, and it's even that is so unreported. I mean, I know a lot of women who have served who have not reported. And so I just think about how high that number probably actually is.
Right. I was actually on base today, the Air Force base around my house, and there was a sign. I don't remember the exact number, but it was like I feel like they were advertising, not advertising to promote it, but like men that have been sexually assaulted in the military as well. So it's not just happening to females, it's happening to men. And I'm sure they're all underreported, because
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine guilt, the shame, and all the feelings that come with that. And you said that you blamed yourself. Do you still blame yourself?
No, I know better. I've taken even like a course in college that really was like a realization where I was like, wow, like I would never even say the word sexual assault or rape. But after I took that and realized what actually that can be, hearing someone say like I was drunk, it wasn't violent, it was someone that was my friend. I wasn't sure, you know, what to think of it, but I knew I felt like I was wronged. So just hearing other people's stories really helped me come to peace with it. And I also want to mention what you said about men, being sexually assaulted. Just in 2000, before 2011, when Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed, men who were raped, it was considered homosexual. So they wouldn't even report it because they could get kicked out for having gay sex. So it was like even more underreported because you would have gotten kicked out for being
What a
raped.
loophole.
Yeah.
That's I didn't know that, but that's crazy.
Yeah.
So
And that's almost 11 years ago only. It's
right,
crazy.
it's recent.
Hmm.
Uh, before we switch topics, is there anything you would like to share to any men or women that may have gone through or go through the same situation as you? Like you said, you wish you would have spoke up or anything like that. Any message you want to share with them?
I think things have definitely changed where it's not your chain of command that's always handling your cases anymore. A lot of it's going to like outside authorities that are taking care of it. You're able to report to. So I think there's a lot more resources. But yes, don't blame yourself. And if somebody discourages you, because it's so hard to ask for help, and then the first person you go to tells you that wasn't a big deal, because that happened to me. If it's a big deal to you, it matters, and don't listen to that first person.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sorry. If that first person that approaches you, yeah, they do have a huge decision on like what you do, because you can go, it doesn't necessarily have to be a sexual assault or anything like that, but like you go to them with an idea or something, any sort of trauma as well, and they don't react in the way that you're hoping or that you need, like it's gonna change your opinion and your viewpoint and your thoughts, and it's gonna make you confused because you're like, I thought this was wrong, like isn't this wrong? So don't
Mhm.
ever let somebody tell you that you're overreacting or anything like that. Because at the end of the day, like they don't know how you feel. Like they're not in your brain. Like what you've been through is what you've been through, and it's your right to express it and feel that way and to work it out.
Yes. Yes, without a doubt.
I'm sorry. Do you need a minute? Like I
Oh
can't.
no, I'm good.
Okay. All right. I
Thank
just
you
wanted
so
to make
much.
sure. No
Thank you
worries.
for providing the space to talk about that, because I was thinking about it the other day. It is a hard thing to talk about. I appreciate it, because like changing the culture around sexual assault and rape, it starts with men, right? Because it's a conversation that men also need to have. So I appreciate you doing that.
No problem. I appreciate you having the testicular fortitude to open up and talk about it. I know you don't have testicles either, so don't be offended by that. I
I
apologize.
know.
Um, So what led to your decision to get out? Like, because you mentioned that you semi thought about staying in because you wanted to be a good female leader, but then you realized you weren't going to be happy in.
Yeah, I didn't like the career I was in. I wasn't a big fan of weather, and I wanted to go to school. I wanted to study something that I wanted to pursue. I wasn't a fan of. I think when I realized I would have went to shore duty, but I did not ever want to go back on a ship, especially I wanted to start a family, and I couldn't picture myself ever being away from my kids for that long. So it's definitely a big factor in getting out.
Yeah, I agree. At least right now, since my mindset is already transitioned in a sense, and I'm already out of the military, and then I had kids, I can't imagine being in, having kids, and like leaving for periods of time because that's not who I am now. So like that's not what I want to do. I've done it before, but the longest I've ever been away was like 2 weeks, right? But that wouldn't even touch anything on a deployment or anything, So like that it's got to be so hard.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Especially, I mean, people do it all the time though. But
Right.
if I
And
had a choice, I wouldn't do it, which is why I made the choice.
right, I understand. And it's their choice to stay in and do it, and it's nothing
Yeah.
bad on them either.
Exactly. Yep. That's how I feel.
So was it hard once you were transitioning? Did you notice like, damn, I kind of miss the Navy, or like at least the camaraderie and all that?
Yeah, I definitely went through a hard time. Yeah, because I started school right away, and then I was pregnant as soon as I got out too. So I was just like in an identity crisis, because I was trying to find out who I was without the Navy. Then I was trying to figure out myself as a mom. I moved in with my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, and we were trying to figure out things between us. Just living together and everything. So it was like so many things on top of another. And then going to school with 18 to 19-year-olds, because I started as a freshman again.
Right.
And it was like, I can't relate to anyone around me. It was very isolating.
Yeah. Was your husband military or civilian?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So he was still in when he came up to Pax River, and I moved there, and then I went to school
Okay.
around the area too.
Okay. So what before you along with the traumas from your service and the transition struggles, plus being a new mom, I'm sure postpartum might have kicked in there. Hopefully it wasn't bad. Uh, but did you notice that you fell into any bad coping mechanisms like drinking, smoking, staying out late, spending all your money?
Honestly, I think being pregnant was such a blessing because,
Okay. You
you
can't
can't
do that.
drink, but that
Yeah.
was definitely my way of life. I was, drinking a lot, just being a 22-year-old, really. So being pregnant, it was like, okay, you really have to, sit by yourself and deal with this. So I went offline and all my medias. I just myself. Um,
I can't hear you. You're breaking up.
okay, can you hear me?
Kind of. Okay, I can. You're moving again. So,
Okay.
um, you couldn't drink because you were pregnant, so it made you, like hyper focus, I guess.
Yeah, but that was also not the best thing because I was isolating myself. I'm a social person, like I mentioned, so it wasn't good for me to not share. And I was also like trying to hide that I was pregnant. I wasn't telling everyone.
Okay.
So yeah, it was just a really difficult year.
Okay.
Uh, but that's kind of why I started my Facebook group, the Millennial Veterans, which is to reach out to people who are transitioning, letting them know you're going to go through a period. Because I'm sure you did. You went through a period of, I call it like an identity crisis.
Yes, and part of me feels like I'm still going through it to this day. I didn't feel it immediately, right? But I got out and I almost met my wife the month I got out or the month after I got out. So I was busy with her, or trying to win her, right? Then I hurt my shoulder and got surgery. So I just had a lot going on and I didn't feel it. And then I started to work dead end job after dead end job after dead end job. And now I'm just like, what the fuck? And I'm pulling myself out of it and I'm turning this into a career. Mark my words. But it's not about
Yes.
me. It's about you. Okay.
Sorry, it's like
Oh, it's
the
okay.
interviewer in me. I have to sneak in a question.
You're more than welcome. I already told you, you're more than welcome to ask me questions. Okay. I'll
Yes.
just deflect them. Um, So you said when you were pregnant, you went dark on like social media. Was that solely mainly because you were trying to hide that you were pregnant, or because you just wanted to completely isolate yourself?
Yeah. I think it was just me being pregnant and kind of ashamed of that. So I grew up like Catholic, and I was like,
Okay.
we weren't married. It was unplanned. So I've really done a lot of work, and I've come to terms with a lot of that.
It's awesome.
I'm
I'm proud
not.
of you.
I wouldn't be ashamed of that now. What was that?
I said that's awesome. I'm proud of you. Like I'm
Thanks.
from a Catholic family. I mean, we weren't like devoted Catholics. Like we went until my grandparents passed away, and then we didn't really go to church much after that. But I understand the pressure around it and being Catholic, and then
Mhm.
you 36 kids you graduated with in a even smaller town than me, so I can understand and relate to you, in that aspect. Like everybody knows, everybody's judging everybody. It's a
Mhm.
confusing time. Yeah. uh
Yeah, definitely.
so you said thankfully you couldn't drink, right? And you were just at home, but how was it after you had the baby?
So she was a very difficult newborn. Gosh, we went through it with her. And another thing about veteran families is, or yeah, like veteran families, you're not usually, it's not all the time like you're not back in Illinois by your family, you're somewhere else. So we didn't have any family around to help us. It was just me and him and this baby that was colicky. She barely slept. She didn't sleep through the night until she was 1 year old. So
Wow.
we were both, he was also going to school and working. He was still in the Navy. I was going to school full time. We were so tired. I had bad anxiety. It was rough.
I bet. I'm blessed. I got very lucky. My parents ended up moving out here because my brother was already here. That's why I moved here. So
Oh,
within a
that's
year of
cool.
me being out, my parents moved here and we literally live 5 minutes down the road from each other. So, and I'm also the first in the family, like my entire family, to have a baby. So it's the first grandbaby inside
Oh my
the
gosh.
family. So spoiled rotten, like it's awesome. I love watching that relationship with my child and my mom and my dad because I remember my relationship with my grandparents and my nana and all that, and I just loved it. So like seeing it now, it's like so cool.
Yes, that is so special. There really isn't anything like seeing your parents with your kids. It's awesome. I totally relate to that.
Absolutely. But it's also like, when did you become so nice and like calm? Wasn't like that before.
Yeah, it's like I'll cut the bread or the crust off your sandwich. I'll give you anything.
Yeah, dump all the toys out. I'll clean them all up for you. What?
Yeah.
Uh, so what pulled you out of this spiral? Like hopefully you didn't hit like a rock bottom that destroyed your family or anything like that.
No, no, what really school helped me out, and then I did an internship. And because I'm so close to DC, they're like, you could do an internship on Capitol Hill. And I was like, all right, where am I going to work? So I was kind of brainstorming with my professor. He's like, well, you're a veteran. Why don't you try getting into like a veteran nonprofit or somewhere on the Hill? And so I applied to a few, and I ended up working for the House Committee on Veterans Affairs.
Okay.
And so I I was like in the heart of policy making, veteran politics. I got to see that whole world, and I really fell in love with. I really felt like passionate about veterans because I was the one answering the phones to Vietnam veterans calling, um, writing in about their problems. Were exposed to Agent Orange. Their children are affected by that, and my heart just went out to them. And then I saw like the congressmen and women kind of making it a partisan issue, like, well, we're going to do this for them, so you guys can't do that, or we're going to try to do this, and not agreeing on it and getting solutions, getting money in the hands of veterans and making it like just politicizing everything. So that gave me like a purpose of wanting to reach out to veterans myself instead of trying to change it through policy.
Okay. And that led you to starting the Millennium Veteran.
Yes, yeah, about a year later. So after that experience, I was like, how can I do this? I don't want to be like, I don't know, I was still shy about like the social media stuff. How can I reach out? So I was just like organically like chatting with my friends. And then people were coming to me like, how can I use my benefit? How can I do this? And I was like, I'm just going to throw everyone in a Facebook group, and we can just post things in there and share things and ask questions.
That's cool. So are you still running that page?
Yes. Yeah. We're really active over there. We have fun questions. We just started a fundraiser. We made shirts, and we're donating the proceeds to a nonprofit that everyone's voting on.
Okay, that's cool. I'll definitely check it out after this.
Yeah.
Uh, so what else can you tell me about that group?
It's mostly younger veterans. You see a lot of things. So actually, it also started because me and my husband, we went to the local American Legion in our town. We're like, we're going to sign up. We're going to be a part of it. And we realized we are younger by at least, I would say, like 20 years. So we're like the only millennials there. And it was kind of like a joke between us. Every time we go there, they're like, oh, we're so glad you're here. Bring more young people. And I was like, well, where are the young people? We're close to a military base. There's a lot of young veterans around. I was like, oh, they're all online. So why don't we start a community for them and really get them involved? Because that first 12 months after separation has the highest mortality rate for suicides. the second leading cause of younger veterans between 22 and 36 is suicide. The first one being accidents. So the second one is totally preventable, being suicide. So that's where we need to catch these veterans, get them help, get them involved in our awesome community, listen to podcasts like yourself where they can relate to people. So that's really my goal, is outreach with this group.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you off air, but even though you could still steal my idea, but I'll tell you off air of my idea about that. Just remind me, okay?
Oh, okay. I'm excited.
Yeah. Uh, so what other positive coping mechanisms you do? Like, you obviously love the outdoors, so I'm sure you're still out there. Your family, did you go to therapy?
Ooh,
Ooh, it's
I
gonna
have
be a good
never,
one.
I've never been to therapy. I definitely should
Okay.
try it out. I don't know what's keeping me. So, I preach it all the time.
You're scared.
I need to look in the mirror, right? I need to say
Absolutely, you're scared. But that's okay. Like, when you're ready, you're ready. Like, because if you go now because I just told you that you're scared, it may not work because you're not like fully committed because you want to. You're like, this fucking asshole said I was scared. Let me go prove him wrong.
yeah, that's a motivator for me for sure.
Yeah,
But I try to, I don't know if you can hear me, did it
I
freeze?
can hear you. You're frozen, but I hear you.
Okay. I really try to keep like daily habits of, getting up early, taking time for myself. I read a lot of books,
Okay.
and I like to read educational books as well as just books for fun. I like to, work out. That really helps me. And just,
Were you able to work out from transition to now, or did you take a break from working out?
I would say I've been consistent. Also
Okay.
pregnancy has kind of
Right.
hindered, having to take.
Understandable.
And every pregnancy, I took a good 6 months off because your body really needs to heal before you're trying to build muscle or do anything again. I feel like women are pushed to go back after that 6 weeks. I'm like, no, take 6 months and let your body heal.
Right. Plus, you got to spend that extra time with your child, and that's amazing. So I don't blame
Yeah.
you. But I was just asking that because while you took those 9 plus 6, whatever that math equals, 15 months off, uh, did you feel like you noticed a decline in your like positivity, your mental health, and anything, your energy levels? Oh, well, obviously, because you just had kids, so the energy level is not going to count. But
Yeah. No, there's been periods where I've been perfectly capable of working out and I've just, not made it a priority. And definitely, yeah, you're right. Like my energy was a lot lower than it was when I was being consistent with working out.
yeah, because I've always known that the gym helps you, right? That's why it's like the therapy. But I have taken a long break, too long of a break, and I finally just got back into a routine. I just started about 3 weeks ago, and I feel so much better. I came up with this idea to start uh I call it the war. Let me pull it out so I remember exactly. War on Your Mental Health Lifestyle Change Challenge. And I actually walked around town today to like different gyms and nutrition shops to see if I can get some stuff donated to like help kickstart the veterans getting back into the gym, because I feel like that's going to help our mental health so much more. Even though like going to the gym is not physically, but it's just like so mentally hard until you take that first day and you actually force yourself to go. It slowly starts getting easier and easier, but the longer you're out, the harder it is to get back in.
Yes, that's so true. And you gotta really carve out a time of your day of when you're gonna do it for, a few days a week. And I kind of just told myself like, I'm just gonna, get my body moving. I'm gonna wake up early and just do something like, and I really just started stretching again. And
Oh,
then
that's good. You're approaching 30. So
Yeah, you need to, that's so important. People don't think about that. But then stretching turned into yoga, yoga turned into like a little cardio, and eventually, it gets more intense.
You
But
got to crawl before you walk and walk before you run. But that's awesome. I am 30. I'm 32. Yeah, I'm 32. But I feel like I'm on early onset rigor mortis. Like I just feel like I'm like curling down and like crippling up. So like I can already
yeah,
tell like since the gym I'm like opening up, but I can just tell I have like so much more. And I would love to get into yoga and stretching, but it should I gotta stop talking negatively about myself. Like, come on, therapy. But
hmm
I feel too lazy to want to stretch and pose yoga because first of all, yoga's fucking hard when you first start and you're not flexible. But yeah, that's something I need to get into for sure. And it's supposed to be really good for your mental health, right?
yeah. But it's hard in like a challenge where you're gonna want to increase, and it's something you can really see progress in. I think even the first few days, being able to touch your toes again, it's just gonna be so rewarding. So you're gonna have like that high learning curve and that high reward. So
Okay.
I think you should just do it.
I should. And like that's the easiest way to do anything is to just do it. Uh like for example, I've been wanting to get into meditation for a few years now, and it's been fucking hard. Once I started to go to the gym, I started listening to a podcast. Do you meditate? Is that why you did that?
Now I have a book for you if you're trying to get
Okay.
into meditation.
Okay. Uh what is that book?
Somewhere around, it's 6 phase meditation. It's like meditation, not like the focus on anything. My husband just brought it to me. I got
Uh
it from the library.
thank you,
Um,
husband.
that's Nick. Um, it's it's just like you're just thinking of things instead of like trying to clear your mind. It's all about you start with like thinking about compassion, gratitude, and he like walks you through it kind of. So it's a little different than everyone thinks like, oh, you have to clear your mind, think about nothing. But this is like helping you think of good things to really set yourself up for your day.
Okay, I'll have to check that out because the podcast I was listening to, Tony Robbins, I believe that's him.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
it was actually his wife, and I think it's his business partner. I'm not too sure, but they came on the podcast and they started talking about meditation. The wife's apparently like a guru and like awesome at meditation, and the
Mhm.
business partner had the same thing that I said was like, I want to get into meditating, but I can't stop my brain from thinking. Like I just can't do it. And they asked like, what would be the simplest thing to do to get into it? And she's like, 2 minutes of deep breathing. Just doesn't matter if you're sitting down, laying down, whatever you're doing, and you can breathe deep. Just breathe deep and build your like let your stomach grow like you're becoming Santa Claus, and then exhale and just do that for 2 minutes. And I started to do that. I don't do it as I want to start doing it more frequently. I'm only doing it once per day, or like if I get triggered or bothered or whatever, I'll start to like breathe. And instead of snapping and yelling, I'm like just
Mhm.
breathing. And then like I'll calm down. I'm handling the situation better. So like that technique worked real easy for me. But
That is awesome. So take yourself back like even 5 years. Could you have ever saw yourself doing that?
I still don't see myself doing that. So no. Right. But yeah, small growth is still growth in the right direction.
Yes.
So do you have any saved rounds? Did I miss anything?
Um, I'm trying to think. I
On the
also
spot.
do. Oh yes. So I also do what I call vet chats on Instagram Live,
Okay.
and we go live every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I want to say it right here. You will be a guest on one of my vet chats. So everyone listening, make sure you go follow me so you can see Josh on there.
It's just
And
putting me on the spot. I didn't volunteer for this.
I am. I'm just telling you, you're gonna do it.
Okay.
It's but it's a lot of fun because it is live and you get comments, you get questions, you never know who's going to be on there. Random people, maybe your mom will show up. You just
Okay.
never know. And then it adds that like element of surprise. It's a lot of fun.
Right. Yeah. Don't worry. I won't be nervous at all. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I truly appreciate you not only taking the time out of your day to come on, but genuinely opening up and talking about some of your traumas as well as like all the positive things that you have done and continue to do. So thank you
Yes.
so much.
Yeah. Thank you for helping share my story and helping make veterans great again. I think that's awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you.